This is the first video of our cursive handwriting series, focusing on the C formation. Now, you might be wondering why we use cursive handwriting as opposed to just normal lettering. The main reason that we use cursive handwriting in class is because it actually makes it a lot easier for the children to join up their letters once they're ready to do so. So with normal lettering you might have C, D, and so on. But then when you ask the child to join up those letters, they suddenly have to learn to have a flick at the end of the D, and that leads into the next letter, and so on. With cursive handwriting, as you can see with the letters on the screen, that's all there for them. So joining up the letters becomes a much more natural process. For this activity, you will need just a couple of things. So handwriting printouts, which you can get from our website. I'll link to this video. For this video, you will need just a couple of things: handwriting printouts, which I will provide the link to from our website, and a Chubby pencil or a Chubby colouring pencil. It's probably easiest to start off with a pencil so that your child can rub out the letters if they make a mistake, but it's nice to have some Chubby colouring pencils to hand, as it will just make it a little bit more fun for your child. So we're working on the C formation today. When we teach handwriting, we don't teach the letters in alphabetical order, but we've grouped the letters according to which ones share similar traits. So you can see we start with the C formation here, but there's the beginnings of a C shape in O, and then the children just continue and go round. Similarly with A, you start it in the same way that you would start a C, and then you continue and go up. And so that is the same for all of the letters on this sheet. So first of all, your child will practice the C formation, get used to moving their hand in that motion, and then you'll layer up on there so it becomes quite easy for them to start to learn the other letters in this group. Now, before we start this exercise, please just make sure that your child is holding their pencil properly. Chubby pencils or a pencil with a pencil grip will make it easier for them to hold their pencils. They're just designed for little hands. Make sure your child's not holding the pencil in a fist, because that is a bad habit to get into and it's not conducive to lovely handwriting. So they should be holding the pencil between their thumb and their forefinger. If you want some help on this, then it would be worth just Googling right pencil grip, and there should be some images online that you can copy. Okay, so the letter C. We are always going to get the child to start at the point on the line, so the red point there. You can say pencils at the ready, and they put their pencil on that line, ready to start. So start there, go up, round there, back, and stop. And again, they would go up, round, back, and stop. You might need to say the instructions as your child is doing this. This is an activity where you'll need to be quite involved and monitoring how your child's writing these letters. What we don't want is for the child to be left to their own devices and then be practicing the wrong formation, which can easily happen. So they might start just going like this and then just adding the line afterwards. So on the handwriting sheet that we'll provide, you'll have several lines like this first one, where you have the C shape filling the line and the child just traces over those letters. We then have a few where they start off with the C formation being guided for them to get them into the rhythm of it, and then they can start working on the dots and drawing their own Cs. So make sure your child is going up to that dotted line each time and starting on the line each time. So remember, you can say pencils at the ready. Oh, my shape here, I was getting a little sloppy, didn't quite go down to the line. So just make sure that you nip that in the bud with your child. They don't necessarily have to redo a letter that doesn't quite go up, but mention it before they continue. Otherwise they tend to get smaller and smaller and more off track. So once your child has done a few of these lines where they're warming up with the C formation and then they do their own, then they can start to do pretty much a whole row of their own Cs on a line. You may find that the guided lines aren't enough for your child, so perhaps you have to print 2 sheets. Or another way of doing it, if you want to save your printing, is to take a sheet that you've already used, like this one, and then use a different colour. So you can just put a blue on there, tracing over it again. That's just if your child needs a little more practice. they might be quite happy if the sheet's looking colourful afterwards. You could use a felt tip as well. So just allow them the freedom to do that. It will give them more practice and make the sheet a little prettier. If your child wants to just use a different sheet for variety, or they're having trouble drawing the C's of the size that are on that handwriting sheet, but you want to still practice the formation, then you can use the other sheet that we have with C's with assorted sizes. So start on the arrow, so you can still say pencils at the ready, and just go around these C shapes randomly, just to give your child practice of getting that motion right. And finally, if you want to do something a little bit different, so your child isn't always sitting at the table and using these handwriting sheets, then you can practice your letters in a number of places. So you can practice drawing them just in the air, in sand. If you have a tray of sand, or even in your child's sandbox, you can draw the C's in there. With chalk on the pavement, on a whiteboard. Children like a whiteboard because it makes them feel more like a teacher. Or even in shaving cream. I've heard some people spraying shaving cream on a tray and then drawing letters in there. Good thing about that is that you can do lots of practice with one tray. Similarly with sand, you just wipe your hand over it, reset it and start again. Once your child is comfortable with the motion that comes from the C formation, you can start to introduce the letters that were shown at the beginning of this video. So O, A, D, G and Q. Well done for making it to the end of the video. Don't forget to practice your C formation anywhere you can, so in chalk, in the air, wherever you feel like it. And once you've mastered that, you can go on to the next video here and learn how to draw A, D, G and Q. Make sure you subscribe to get the next videos in our handwriting series, and visit kinlearning.com or the links in the description here to find the worksheets that go with this activity.